So I'm a bit the odd one out. I think I'm the only one that is looking at money. I mean, most of you are looking at technology and foresight. And so Philips has decided to become a customer-centric company. I think you see it from the brand. So Philips started with, let's make things better, regardless if you need that thing or not. That was the past. And then we decided now we involve the customer directly into the center of all decisions we made. And that is actually living the brand. And actually internal to the company and also external, we really live that culture. And I want to show you some of the activities that we are doing to make sure that we really embrace the customer and their value in every decision we make. So whenever I go and visit, some product management, I ask them simple questions. And these are the 4 questions I always ask because it's the easiest to ask, but it's the hardest to answer. So you can see their face suddenly change. They were so confident to say, I have this fantastic product to be introduced. And then I ask these 4 questions, and you see suddenly they are not so excited. The first one is easy. If you really done your homework, you must be solving a problem. So otherwise, why you introduce a solution? You call yourself a solution, solving someone's problem, but what problem? For whom? Can you describe to me the whom? Segmentation, and what exactly are you solving, and how much you are solving it? So that's really the question that most people say, okay, I need to do more homework. And then the second one is, why should the customer only buy from you and no one else? How differentiated are you that the customer can come in and say that I opt for Philips and I'm not opting for another company? So you need to understand the willingness to buy, what decision they make, how they make that decision. And then the third one is, can you actually quantify the value you are going to deliver to them? And I will show you what value means. Philips has a very well definition of value, especially customer value. And we are selling a lot into B2B. So we sell to hospital, they treat their patients. So quantification and communicating that quantified value is very important. And I always say most companies fail in the last mile or last kilometers is when your sales rep is not able to articulate your value and quantify that value to your end customer. So they cannot defend the price that you need, which you are worthy of getting if you work on the last mile correctly. And the last but not least, have you done enough work to understand the willingness for them to buy? And then next question is willingness to pay, because it's not difficult for me to convince everyone here, your second car should be a Porsche. It's harder to convince you have to pay $150,000 for it. It's a completely different thing, and most companies confuse themselves, and they think this is what customer is asking, so I produce it, not knowing the customer is not willing to pay for what you produce. And this is, if you can answer all these 4 questions, you are starting to be customer-centric. And you also have done all your homework to make sure your solution is going to be successful in the market. And I can tell you, the product manager that can answer all these questions before the launch, there's always a very successful launch. And we are launching product almost every day. So this is also the inspiration. So why did Philips embark the journey of doing value-based pricing? I mean, value-based pricing is just one of the many methodologies that company decided to do. We decided to use this because this is actually a study that is made by Deloitte. So Monitor is a branch of Deloitte focused on pricing. They find out of 204 companies, the one that has a value-based strategy is the one that has a higher profitability, so 4% higher than an average. And if you look at the top, which is they have a strategy and they execute that strategy, that means also to the last kilometer, having the right tooling, having everything for the sales rep to defend the price, they will be 24% more profitable than an average company out of that 204 companies. And this is why Philips believe it, and I can tell you internal data support it. Every product that was value-based has a higher profitability than a product that is not value-based. We prove it every day. So our executive and also everyone in Philips believe in value-based pricing, and this is the journey we are going to take. Of course, you talk to people, they are very happy with the product, but if you talk to the customer, they are not buying the product. They are buying what the product can do for them. So they're looking more on the outcome of your product than the input of their product. Okay? So most people, unless you have allergy, is not really care what ingredients you put into that dish. They more care about how the dish tastes and look and smell. So that's what they are buying. And then remember that, because in B2C, it's about perceived value, love, security, all these things. But for B2B, which is where we focus a lot, is really quantifiable economic value. Customer will not tell you this. They will tell you, I need a return on investment. I need a business case. I need to understand your total cost of ownership. So these are the tips that customers want you to sell value instead of selling product to them. So today we will talk about the approach. So when we decide our portfolio and also decided how we frame our solutions together, we take 4 steps. The first step is where to play. And this is what I talk about segmentation. You need to know who has the need to be solved and who is willing to pay for solving those problems. So then this is the where. And then if we invest a lot on those customers that can perceive the value and they need a solution that we believe we can build. The second one is how to win. Once we decided to play there, how can they play and win, become the differentiated vendor that they will always select, and they have this willingness to buy. Third one is to make sure that we actually really check, is that exactly linking to their value? And I will explain to you what the value looks like later on. And last but not least, to check the willingness to pay. So we apply the value-based pricing and making sure we use the right metrics. I will talk about metrics also later. And also which model that will help the customer make the decision easier. So normally we sell at a premium. So Philips sells 30% and 40% higher than most other competitors. So we need to have a very strong value proposition to support that differentiated price. So first, where to play. So most company, and including Philips in many businesses, they created one solution out of one tech stack. So you have one thing, and then you say, I created a solution, and they sell at a target price. So this line in the middle is the target price. So they target a price, and they say, I'm going to sell. There are customers on the C which they perceive your value fully. And they can see your value, they want to pay for your value, but today you don't charge them for that value. You charge them on the average price. So you lose a lot of money that you could have made if you created the right solution to deliver exactly that value that claim the highest price. There are customers that don't see all your value, and those are customers that is in A, and this, unfortunately, is the bigger portion of customers. They are price hunters, and they are looking for value as in lower price kind of value. And also, you normally will not be able to serve them because your price is too high. They will not buy. So in order to make that work and get your target price, you can segment your customers into different needs. The one that had a higher need, you need to skim them. So that the technical language in pricing is called skimming, means that you extract the most price and value out of that customer. Why we want to do that? Because you need that skimming, the top part, to fund the penetration of the lower end. Then you have the maximum coverage of your market. Otherwise, you will never be able to play in A because you want to set the price there. If you set your price to A, you lose even more money. Then every unit, you are going to lose money. And this is the problem with a lot of companies. They find one solution. They want to meet everyone's need. And they, at the end, lose money at the top. They lose the growth at the bottom. And this is what we try to do, is extend our product portfolio so that we cover the whole market. And then we fund the growth and the profit at the same time. Why we want to do segmentation? So because if we don't, and this is where we had in the past, you create this massive Swiss Army knife, which is very difficult to do, very difficult to maintain, yet you don't get the price you want. I mean, how much is a Swiss Army knife? It's not a lot. If you do something properly, which is what we determined to do, you solve one big problem really properly for your customer, you can see, I can claim $3,000 for a knife that cut sashimi perfectly. But I will not even get 300 out of all these things that I created, which is a lot more complex. And for the customer also, he will not use this knife forever to cut sashimi. It doesn't work. So you think I am offering you more, but the customer actually feels I get less. And that's why you don't get the right price. And this is the symptom of a lot of companies. And also sometimes we will sell Kobe beef, highest quality beef ever, to a vegetarian. I mean, don't laugh. We do it all the time in Philips. We have our technology so good, so advanced. It struck me when the customer don't want it. But I need to understand how they operate their hospital and why this doesn't help them to do better. And if that doesn't help them to do better, they are vegetarian to your beef. And you cannot say, yes, I don't care, I still charge you that price, even you're a vegetarian. And then it does not actually work out. Why we want to focus not on features and on needs? Because if you focus on features, this is what will happen. You have first camera, everyone understand why you need a camera. Second one, yes, kind of I understand. The third one's already a little bit challenging. And then now you go to the fifth one, you're just wondering, do I really need 5 cameras? But if you are in a technology chase, this is what you do. And we did that all the time in the past. We have, the CT scanner. You can scan many, many images. We start with 64, we go to 128, we go to 256, and we are trying to do 512. Customers say, I don't need anything beyond this. I can't see it. It's beyond my retina can detect. So why do you want to go to 512? The technology to go to 512 is impossible. It will take 20 years to do. So if you embark your journey to achieve that and no customer will pay for it, you are in a big trouble. So this is what we want to prevent, the technological-driven solutions. You see a lot of this in the world. Even big companies make that mistake. Google make Google Glass, and Meta make Metaverse. So a lot of company is technology-driven, and they drive the hell of the technology, but not having the right willingness to buy and pay from their customers. And this is what I call solution looking for a problem to solve. I'm sure you have seen a lot of this, ChatGPT. What can we do? Now, we have this technology. What can we do with it? That is the symptom. You do not have a need. Someone calling out, I need to solve my problem, and you say, I can solve it with ChatGPT. You start with, I have ChatGPT. What can I do with that ChatGPT? You are having a solution looking for a problem, and this is the reverse of what you need to do as a company. So IBM Watson did the first one. Big problem. If you go back to Google, try to see how they invested $4 billion and completely write off at the end. 5G public, how many of you subscribe 5G network and feel very proud of it? 5G public do not give you one extra benefit because you don't need that speed in your normal daily life. Your social network, your email, you don't need that speed. You need to download a whole movie in 10 seconds, then you need that speed. But who will do a download of movie nowadays? You can stream. The negative part is once you have a 5G network, your battery runs faster. And that's a negative. So you pay more for less. And this is why people don't feel proud. I mean, you will be, if you're a gaming player, you will need that speed. And if you are in the manufacturing, you want 0 latency for that network, you will need 5G. 5G has a lot of usage, but not for public. Okay, and then you have AI, machine learning. Everyone is looking for a problem to solve, including in Philips. So. And then you have the newest, and I will discuss a little bit on the newest vision from Apple later on as an example. So now we look at what's the benefit of having a segment base. So if you know your needs, you have a well-defined price on each level, and you capture the maximum you can capture in each of the group of customers. and then you will earn the highest growth and also the higher profitability. Of course, that means you need to find the right metrics for each, and then you need to find a fence that you don't start selling to that customer this price. Fencing means for each customer, I define who they are, and I assign a pricing methodology to them or metrics, and then I charge them that price. Otherwise, even that person may ask for that price, which you don't want. So you need to have some way to differentiate and govern them. I always use this best practice internally in Philips, explain to people. Even if you only have one product, one tech stack, doesn't mean you can only sell at one price point and to one customer. Everyone believes I have only one. I said, no, you don't have just one, because when first Apple introduced the watch, and I literally bow, because as a pricing person, this is the god of segmentation. No one can do better. This is the ceiling. What they did is they invented the same watch, so it's exactly the same hardware, software, just different by one with the gold plating, one with a metal belt. They created 3 complete different segments and sell at different pricing. So they all use exactly the same features, not a single bit of difference. What they did is they investigate who are the customers and how they decide to buy. The one that is focused on fashion and fitness, they want to be conform, they want to be part of a claim, they want to have the fitness. There's a big market out there, 1.2 billion. This is the very low end. And then Swatch, Fitbit, and Garmin is the incumbent players, and they want to kick them out. The second market is when you want to personalize and you want to be part of the trend. You don't want to look like you are not part of the trend. So you need to be respected. You want to be a little bit in the elite area in the society. There's 50 million units, and then selling at about 1,300 to 5,000, and you're competing with Gucci, with Tag Heuer, and also Montblanc. And then, of course, the last but not least are the people that say, I can afford something you cannot. So this kind of alpha male mentality to show their wealth. And these are the people that normally wear Cartier, Rolex, or Omega. So these people don't care to pay $15,000 for a watch. And Apple see them as a very, very strong contribution to their EBIT. So this is the actual price. When they launch, they have the lowest end, $349, the highest, $17,000. 50 times the price from the high to the low of exactly the same watch. That's where the ceiling is. Who else will be brave enough to sell 50 times the same watch? Apple can, and they pull it off. So when they actually sell, out of the first 20 million units, only 1% bought that high price. 1%, which is what people want. I want to be the top 1%. I am rich. You cannot afford what I can afford. And then you have a fair distribution. The end result is the average selling price of the watch becomes $628 by the mix. This is the same price they are selling the iPhone 5, exactly the same time they launch it. But the technology and the cost to build a watch is so much lower. Everything else is just huge profit. Of course, the volume of watch is much lower than volume of phone. So in absolute euro, is not the biggest, but the percentage is unbelievable high because they are able to segment that addition and skim the hell out of them. Then they can penetrate and play with Fitbit, which definitely the margin is not there, but they just want to kick them out. So then they become the owner of the watch industry. So we did the same in Philips. So we follow this. We say, let's play good, better, best. So we created 3 platforms for patient monitoring. And we do one for basic monitoring, very, very low value. And we just want to penetrate. We want to play in that market, which is the biggest unit market in the world. And then we have the core measurements, and then we have the highest technology, which focus on clinical decision support, enterprise solution, data, cybersecurity, all these very high-end requirements, and we skim a lot on that. So our X3 has the same EBIT as Apple selling their phone. This is how much we can skim, because customers see fully the value. And when they do it, we will claim it. We will not be shy to extract all the value out of that solution. So I'll give you some example. So when you see a problem, this is the problem that we see after the pandemic. Almost half of the hospital in US is having a red profit and loss. And 88%, they are losing money in 2022. So we know customer cannot afford to buy very expensive equipment. Unfortunately, some of our equipment is €2 million each. So imagine try to sell a €2 million to a customer that is already on red. So how did we do it? So we work with customers and say, what can we do as a company to help you through this difficult time? You still want the technology to help you, because now you have an even bigger problem to solve. Then they come back and say, I want you to differentiate your hardware and the software. Like I buy PC and I subscribe to Microsoft. Can you do that with your big equipment? Sell me the hardware as CapEx, because I can, using tax, to depreciate it to zero at the end. So I almost get it for free. And then for software I cannot depreciate, can you then give me a predictable kind of charge that I can easily plan for? I don't have this up and down, and then I need to borrow money from the bank. Can you give me a very good operating model that I can get my software, my upgrade, and also the maintenance and professional service all at one price? So we deliver that solution at the end. So no new technology, but a different way to present the solution and different way to sell, and we sell a lot of this. Customer really appreciate, we look into how they operate, how they get their capitals, and we help them through this very difficult time. So no technology, pure financial, but it works. The other problem is there's a lot of staff shortage. You heard about a lot of nurses decide to early retire. They get burnout. Same as physicians, same as radiologists. Hospital run out of people. So they are really concerned about not having enough people to run the operation. So what is happening is we focus a lot on the operational side. How can we help them to do more with less resources? So we focus a lot of the discussion and also the solution on that. How can I help you survive without staff? And still you can run your operation successfully. So one of this is called compressed sense, and I will give more example later on how it works. But compressed sense is basically something that can do faster in scanning, 50% reduction. So when you normally take an MRI scan, it takes many minutes. This one can do 50% faster. It also enables, because of the faster scanning, the patient don't have to hold their breath. Imagine you hold your breath is difficult. After COVID, I don't know how many of you get COVID, hold your breath after COVID is difficult. So we also reduce that stress to make patient also feel better. And of course, it also is a way to also do more scanning or scanning at a higher data volume and make the diagnosis more confident. You can see more, you can make your decision a lot better. So these are things that we can produce for them, and I will explain how this maps back to the reality. So the next one is how to win. Philips focus on 5 values to our customers. So if you are not part of those 5, we don't count them. So you can have all your beautiful business cases. If you are not claiming one of these 5, I don't count it. Most people will not count it. So everyone talk about value. Have you ever think about how you discuss that value with your customer? So we decided 5 drivers. The first one is economic. How can you make your customer earn more money, revenue go up, or reducing their costs? Refuting the redoing of things, reduce the use of unnecessary things, that they can reduce their costs, improve their revenue, earn more money. First one, easy, economic, return on investment. The second one is exactly what I mentioned, operational value. How can we help them do more with less? And they will have less and less, because more nurses will get retired and burn out. The third one is clinical, of course, is because we are healthcare. You may have a different metrics. So we make sure that you have a clinical efficiency, first time right, first time treatment, correct, patient go home faster, reducing length of stay in the hospital. And then emotional. This is very important. I mean, this is one of the best seller of the month, is how can we make the nurses not retiring, not to get burnout? How can we support their workflow so that they have an easier life? And then, of course, also the patients. So in US, you get reimbursement reward if your patient go out and be satisfied. So they have this survey. Every time the patient gets out of the hospital, there's a survey. How happy the customer is after the treatment determine how much money the hospital will get. So that's a financial value linked to also that emotional value. And this is also what Philips is spending a lot of energy to make sure every patient feel great with a great experience when they leave the hospital. And last but not least, is a hot topic today as well, is sustainability. And you all talk about sustainability a lot. So our customer also start to feel they need to be part of it. So reducing the CO2 footprint, reducing waste, reducing energy consumption, all become important topics. So we, as a vendor, has to deliver those for them as well, so they can check the box and say, I reduce my CO2 by 5% because I buy from Philips. We manufacture, for example, completely today with 0 carbon footprint. All our factories is carbon neutral. So these are things that we can give to the customer so they can claim also their own reduction in their CO2. So 5, if it's not that 5, we ignore. This is very important because otherwise you can't really do your work. So how do we actually make it in reality work? So remember compress sense, scanning faster. Scanning faster means you can do more patients. Logical, easy. You can even quantify it because of that faster, how much we will do that exercise later on in the workshop. We can add sequences. You can scan more angles of the patient to make your confidence diagnosis better. Then you can improve your clinical, improve your emotional. You can spend more time with patient because now you scan faster, you have more time, you relax because you don't have to rush. And then you reduce the overtime of the staff because now you scan faster. So basically, the technology helps you to do many things, and of course, reduce overtime, give you economic value, and also happier nurses, go home, spend time with their family, less stress, less likely to get burnout. Then you turn back and say that, okay, there are many decision makers in deciding to buy a scanner or whatever. And in each different model that they're operating on, public hospital, private hospital, government-funded insurance, or privately paid, each model you have people making different decisions. So this one is when you have a government-funded model, this is how we track all customers and say that which are their major KPIs, what they themselves is measured on for their own bonus. So this is what they really care about, and we look at that mapping to our value. So this is financial, operational, clinical, operational. Okay, very easy. Once you know who care about what, you can go into mapping. Compress sense, do more patient, financial, operational, C-suite, love it. COO especially, okay? When you add sequences, then you have the clinical and you have the medical advantage, then the technologies and referring physicians. So everyone, we know how compress sense will touch them. And once we can quantify those values, we can explain to them exactly how much you get your own improvement in your KPI. This is how you link value to the actual selling to protect your price. But you need to go into that detail of understanding how your customer is making money, spending their costs, having their problem with their staff, retention and all that. Once you get into that in-depth knowledge, you can do this easily. And this is what we are training our salespeople to do, and they really are applying it in real life. This is also, the next one is checking the willingness to buy. Remember, it's easy to get people to buy as long as they see the value. So the first one is how can we then show them the value? So the hardest part, and most companies fail, is to convert the feature into benefit into value. That is the hardest part. Most people can tell you the feature, 100%, everyone knows. Half of you can tell the benefit of the feature. Faster scanning, better whatever. So you can quantify some of these benefits, but value means linking to the bottom line of your customer. And I always say, saving time is not a value. Saving time is the benefit. You need to use the save time either to cut the staff, which is cutting costs, which you don't want, not to create unemployment, but you can redeploy the time that you save to do something to help the hospital to reduce costs or make more money. You need to close the loop, otherwise you only solve 50% of the problem. Saving time, when we discuss with customers, they say, I don't want to save time, I want to make more money. I want to treat more patients. Can you explain to me how that save time can help me to achieve my objective? And he says, saving time so that the staff can go for coffee and chit-chat about the movie they watched last night is not my objective. And believe it or not, if you just say saving time, this is what they think about, that people just waste the time. So important to go end to end, to close the loop, to say not only saving time, how does save time help you to make more money, make your patients more satisfied, and do what you do to improve your KPIs. So how do we actually start applying value-based pricing? I will show you a little bit more later on. So we have a competitive reference value. This either is your traditional legacy system, or is your competitor solution, or if the customer is not buying from you, how they are going to solve the problem themselves. Maybe hiring people, maybe do whatever they do. So you have a competitive reference value, and we have to show how much value we create beyond that value. And you need to quantify, because if you don't quantify, saving patient means nothing to no one, unless you say, I save you 2% more, 3% more, 20% more, 200, 2,000. Without quantification, saving more patient is zero. Same as saving money, saving costs. If you cannot quantify the cost, it means zero to your customers. You always wonder why they are not interested. I'm going to help them save more money. But you cannot say save how much. In the customer eye, zero. You need to quantify. Once you can quantify, you can then differentiate. Of course, there are things that they can do, your competitor can do, you cannot. So there's some negative value. Based on the net, that's the range you can play. And if you're interested, join the workshop. We can show you how to actually use that to determine your price. So this is how we explain. So if you have a feature, remote and proactive service, fantastic thing to sell, okay? What do you actually do? It lower the downtime. Okay, lower the downtime, of course, is a good thing, but it's only a benefit. The only thing that you miss doing is to then use the lower downtime to say how much money you can make when you're not having that downtime. Or when you have the downtime, how much you sacrifice your revenue. And this is what you need to do so that you can change everything from feature into value. And this extra step needs to be done. And of course, you need to make it believable. So there are some communication you have to create. So this is one customer testimony that Philips has. And we are showing it to other customers to say, a customer of similar size to you, they save 4.6 million over 15 months using my solution. And I can simulate on your operation. I can have a value calculator to simulate. For you, that means 16 million. Or for you, that means 2 million. You can quantify, customize per customer. And this is what we do. So this is on the right-hand side, this is called the value calculator. It can be done customer by customer to simulate what is the actual value you will receive. How many patients you can save, how much money you save, how much cost you save. And then also we have the other app, it's called Compare. That shows your differentiation. Some customers know your product so well, they are buying features. So they do still exist, and you still need to serve them. So we have a tool that can do both. Experts buy features, we can show them feature differentiation. Everyone else buy value, we can show them the value. So physician buying, they look at feature. C-suite buying, they look at value. So once you have all this, the next one, you create the willingness for them to pay for the price. So we always try to get as much as possible closer to the outcome that they expected. So outcome-based pricing, you heard a lot, and people do it in the industry. If you look at, for example, the engine, I mean, there are Rolls-Royce, there are many other companies the same. This pay-per-use, so only when you fly, the flying hour do get charged. There are Thai companies that charge per kilometer driven. There are Xerox, it's really the number of copy you make. So this links your price to your outcome, to your performance. And this is what a lot of customers are asking for, to say, I only pay you more when you deliver more value to me. And this is one thing that we do. And of course, the closer you link your value to your price that you charge, the better the outcome will be for the willingness to buy and pay. And of course, you need to enforce your value proposition. Sometimes you also don't want to depend everything on consumption. You may want to only have what is called hybrid pricing. So partly is on consumption, partly is on regular charge, like a rental. You rent, and then you charge some on consumption. So this is also a hybrid model that we use a lot. Price metrics is important, but how do you decide? Then you have to go through the proper funnel. I will not have time to explain everything, but I just want to make sure you remember you don't dream a price metric out. You have steps and step thinking before you decide which to choose. So we follow an example of Apple. We tried it and very successful. We have the same tech stack, exactly same monitor, no difference. The only difference is we switch on and off one connectivity to a host monitor, and then we add 15% more price because the workflow that you can do together with the host monitor is what the other one cannot do. So one software switch on and off, customer pay 15% more, and they do. So, and this is the way that you can link value, which is the better workflow, better operation, into the price. And it's also the same tech stack. We believe in Apple so much, we tried it and it worked. So there are two ways to find your price. One is called the willingness to pay. You can actually pay someone to do this study. Very effective. That's another one is to use the EVE model, so the economic value estimation model, which I described. You know, this reference model, and then your value, and then your negative value compare. So this is the very frequently used analysis for us to do pricing. It's called conjoint. Conjoints is randomly selecting different parameters or your features, and then link it to a price. Randomly selected so that your customer has to make a decision. So when they see this and when they see the price, either they believe it and then choose it, or they don't believe and don't choose it. Never ask your customer how much they will pay because they will always lie. But if they make decisions based on price, subconsciously, they are telling you, actually, I am looking at this, and I make a decision. Or they look at this and make a decision. If you repeat this exercise enough with more customers, you can actually know which feature drive more value and drive more price for your future. And this is also how we prioritize our development. We want to develop and focus on things that drive more value and more price. And also, it creates segmentation. Certain customers will perceive different value. And then you see completely two streams of customer. And then you can then create a segmentation out of it. So very important for solution design, very important to understand how they make the decision, very important to understand the sensitivity of the price, and also how you segment. And also, sometimes you can put a brand name in it as one of the feature. And we find out a Philips patient monitor automatically claim €1,000 once it's printed with the Philips name. So our brand costs a lot in the eyes of the customers. So I want to give you an example that you can work on, segmentation. And I think I try to explain. And I also have this survey, which I don't know whether they can do it or not. So this is, most companies do not understand this. You need the need in order to create the willingness to buy. No, without the need, they will not buy. You need to create the value. They see the value, they will pay. So the link between value and price. And also, they must have the budget. Even if they love it, they're willing, they need to be able to pay you. The affordability. Most companies do not link the three when they make a decision. So let's look at the latest launch of Apple. $3,499 for the Vision Pro. Create completely different perception of the market. So I really like this gentleman. He said the technology definitely is not bad. It's a very, very great technology with a lot of cameras and sensing and all that. But the price they're asking is the sum of the MacBook Air, iPad Air, iPhone 14, the watch, and the AirPods Pro together. Is that technology equal? I don't think so. Okay, so if you look at value to value, it doesn't resonate. Immediately, this price looks strange. So the question is, can we create a better segmentation so they can justify this easier across different segments of people? So where to play? Who need an AR device? How to win? And then there are other VR suppliers already out in the market, or Clueless and all that. And who is going to willing to buy that product if you have a different tech stack, and then the willingness to pay for it. So did we have the app survey or not? We do, OK? So you will receive the potential segmentation, and you are going to vote which one you believe is the highest possibility Apple can introduce and make more money out of it. So you are helping to segment. And this is what we do as well. So we interview a lot of customers and ask them what problem they need to solve. Fantastic. So you all see, this is your choice, OK? Military surgeons. Let's see. Can you go back to the slides? So the poll, and this is what could happen. Of course, you need to validate with market research and all that. Potentially, you can create a military option of it that provides night vision, thermal vision, sonar for radar imaging, direct control of a drone. And then you have GPS and map with target detail. You have a facial recognition of the criminals or your enemies. If you have all these features, you can claim a very good price. And same tech stack, small modification. Medical, if you can have a hands-free and you can have the medical images in front of you and then compare the reality of the patient. If you can document everything that you see verbally, you can have a zoom. A lot of doctors are old, so they need this magnifying glass. If you can zoom it directly, it's a lot better. If you can enhance the color, because it's difficult to see under the lighting, and then if you can capture the video when he's doing an operation, can also train other people, also to do remote consultation. When he have a problem, can he call someone directly and have someone look at it and solve it together with him? All this can claim also a good price. Okay? You want to also have a longer battery. Remember, the launch, say 2 hours. 2 hours is not enough for most. You may be in the airport. Even the airport waiting time is longer than 2 hours. And of course, in the plane will be more longer than 2 hours. So maybe you need a better battery life. It will need to be lower weight because you wear it for business and longer meetings. And then sometimes you don't need all the bells and whistles. You only want standard support on something that's standard. And that can help you to lower the price. Of course, there are people that are really focusing on social media, and there are kids. Remember, if you watch their launch, they had a contract now with Disney. I said, why do you want to sign a contract with Disney? The glass definitely will not fit onto a child. It's wrong design. It's completely too big. So you need to find a way to adapt to a kid. It needs to be really lightweight. It needs to be breakthrough. If you drop it and break, remember, this is 3,400 euro worth of technology. And you don't want to smack your child because they break it. So, and of course, it has to have a direct interface to the Disney Channel and also act as a second display. You want to have a family, then you want to watch things together. You don't want to spend all the money to buy 6 pieces at home. So you need to find a cheaper solution. So those, yes, I see. So finally, we just want to show you how to enable it. So all these fantastic things seems to be nice. If you want to also have it in your company, you have to start with this. One side, the product generation people, the innovation people has to start thinking about value. And we train them so that they understand that. And then, of course, the people that execute it, the salespeople, also have to understand how to apply that in real life and defend your price. So you need to have this in parallel so that the whole organization can embrace the same way to discuss with your customer on value and price. So how we did it? We did a 12-hour training for all product managers. We did already 250 of them, and then half to go. And then we also have the same training for salespeople, a lot shorter, so also some period, like advertising, to engage them so that they can come into the training. So it's a 3-hour training in reality. And what happened is we have an NPS score of 84% for the product managers. What does that mean? Every 10 person attending it, 8.4 will tell the next product manager, you cannot miss this training. You must come. And as a result, we are selling our ticket like concert tickets. The moment we announce there's a training, within the first hour, half of it is gone. Within the first 4 hours, it's always fully booked. So, so this is really a good one. And then also we have the e-training, 4.7 review. And also we train the market. Even the market leader themselves join it. They also want to learn. And because they join it, everyone will join it. And of course, we created also a lot of things post-training to support them on, for example, the club is a per 2-week a subject that we run as a webinar. Everyone can join. And then we bring experts from outside to speak about how to do value-based better. So that's it. I am exactly on time. But do I have time for questions or no?
Actually, not really.
Thank you.